This is Tom Myers, Superintendent of Bellevue Community School District in Bellevue, Iowa, coming to you with some comment highlights from the most recent April board meeting. A few things happening here as far as resignations. We had a resignation from Jacob Huntley, who is actually leaving a middle school, high school choir position to pursue a graduate assistantship and a master's in music at Western Illinois University. Best of luck to Jacob there. Also want to thank Gary Hansen for 30 years of service and driving bus for our district. That's effective at the end of the school year, but thank you very much, Gary. If you happen to see Gary, thank you for all his time in the bus. We had some hires. We had a new first grade teacher hired, Shannon Anderson, a new third grade teacher hired, Tina Sieverty, and a new fourth grade teacher for our extra section of fourth grade, and that is Melissa Fondell. We had a very strong pool for that, so these three people are very deserving of these positions. We had a public hearing on our budget for fiscal year 23. The tax rate for this upcoming year will be 10.53626, which is a decrease once again. And when you look at neighboring districts, they're from anywhere from $11 or $12 to $15 to $18 per thousand. So excellent for our district to have a much lower rate than normal that way. We had Comet curriculum. We had a couple students join us from Bellevue Big, along with one of their instructors, Kurt Ernst. Remember, Bellevue Big is that passion-based learning program for our students to actually meet at the Button Factory downtown in the second level. If they ever get a chance, stop in there anytime in the afternoon. Anyone is welcome to stop in there to see our students and even spend some time there themselves below the coffee shop. But it's an excellent environment for our students. Memphis Jets talked about the Spotify podcast they're doing back with Big and the things they're doing with that. And then Gabby Williamson talked about the bunny hop that she had happen over our spring break on the Saturday there. So it was excellent. Then we also have a Bellevue Big exhibit night on May 4th at the Button Factory. Really encourage you to go down there and see our students' projects that they're working on, the things that they're passionate about, that personalized learning based on their interests. And that is very, very important to do. So we also approved a 28E agreement with Eastern Iowa Community College District and Maquoketa Community School District. This will not cost our district anything, but we will have a career counselor in our building from Eastern Iowa Community College District 2 times a week next school year. They'll also be 2 times a week in Maquoketa, then 1 day a week at the college. We also spent some time talking about facilities and what we're doing there. A few things there, discussion of the master planning process. We were having a master plan done of our entire district. We have already had the assessment completed of the elementary building and look at renovation costs there, about $9.1 million. What's our best option? Is it renovation? Is it building something? Is it building something onto the current building? Is it doing a variety of different things that way? But we're also looking at the middle school, high school campus and space we have here and trying to get a better grasp of where we need to go in the future with our facilities and what needs to happen. What's the life expectancy of the facilities, anywhere from the building itself to the roof to the electrical and heating and cooling and everything like that. So that's one thing we're looking at there. We also talked about space and how we're moving things around in the elementary building for next year. And we have that somewhat figured out that way, utilizing every nook and cranny of that building. But it's a good problem to have with an increasing enrollment that way. So it's a positive. And then we talked about general summer plans and some things we're going to be doing. We're spending less money this year on some of our projects as we prepare for larger projects in the future that way. But the board did okay our annual refinishing of gym floors in the middle school, high school building specifically, vinyl tile in the elementary classroom restrooms, a commons area carpet, some duct work in the high school boys locker room, the seating and fertilizing of the football track area, doing some work in the north football shed, just to have a visiting team go in there, a little electricity and lighting and a little better flooring. And we're also looking at purchasing a new Suburban that way from Till's Garage here in Bellevue, keeping our business local once again. I gave an overview of extracurricular activities. High school girls track, we have about 20 students out. High school boys track, about 27. High school boys and girls golf, 11 each. Middle school girls track about 10, high school boys track about 30, and our soccer numbers, we have 14 boys out for soccer and 11 girls out for soccer in a shared program with Bellevue Marquette, and those numbers are very strong for us that way. I also recommend it was approved by the board to join some professional organizations, the Iowa School Finance Information Service, ISFIS as it's called, IASB, that's the Iowa Association of School Boards, and NSBA, the National School Board Association. We also belong to the Rural School Advocates of Iowa. So I approved a 28E agreement for a preschool at the actually St. Joe's Daycare. Marquette Catholic operates that, but they're under our umbrella as a public school in the district. One other thing with the memberships that way, we pay about $950 for finance information from ISFIS, about $2,500 from IASB, just as a reference that way. Comment board and reflection. I had the board take a look at an article from the Des Moines Register talking about the satisfaction with public schools or non-satisfaction. It was interesting. We just highlighted a few things in there. And then comparing that to our own surveys here, where people are satisfied with their school as a whole. There's always improvements to be made in every possible area, but wanted to let you know that. Information items I shared, we have Family Week update. That is sanctioned by the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union and the Iowa High School Athletic Association. The week of July 24th through July 31st, there are no activities to be scheduled for our students from the school aspect, and nothing in our building in that regard, from weight room to basketball to volleyball to outside football, everything like that way. Talked about our network security study that we had completed. We came out very well with that. Not that we're overly surprised, but some other districts in our area did not come out as well. We had three very minor things. Two of them were just software updates that were scheduled to happen anyway within the next week. And another one was a Promethean panel that we had to just reconfigure a little bit to stop any outside information coming in or hacking our system to a certain point. So came out very well there. Event updates. Remember, we have prom happening on April 30th at Horizon Hall, and then we have graduation on Saturday, May 28th. That's at 4 o'clock again. Transportation information. We talked about the bus rates, or our bus pay for drivers, or bus driver pay, hope I say it that way. For activity buses specifically, there's information on the website about that, but not having a max amount that someone could have if they're spending 10 or 12 hours. And those things do not happen very often, but they would happen at a wrestling meet that maybe we're leaving at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning probably, and maybe not getting back till 7 o'clock at night. Those don't happen very often, but just looking at the pay that we offer there, currently we pay $17.11 per hour for that, but we had a max amount there too at certain times. So looking to change that possibly at the next board meeting. I gave a legislative update on funding from the legislature for public schools, also looking at that transparency issues that way, the transparency bill for parent rights. I personally do not have any issue at all with sharing anything that any of our teachers are teaching, putting it online so people know what it is, and just sharing the syllabus from each and every class that parents can access at any time. Comments from building principals. They talked about a variety of things happening in their buildings. Mrs. Hartung Schrader specifically talked about some summer program. Mr. Raker was not at the meeting, but I did share some information about FBLA, our Future Business Leaders of America, and how multiple students qualified for the national convention for FBLA. This year it happens in Chicago. We've traveled anywhere from Anaheim to Philadelphia to Nashville and Orlando and every place like that with our students, but we have about 7 students who are going to be attending nationals out of 11 that qualified. And the board has typically given up to $5,000 in funding for that as needed. Students do raise money as well, but this is a national convention that our students qualified for, and they are actually presenting at and getting judged there as well. So once again, congratulations to Mrs. Weber, the FBLA sponsor that way, and our business ed teacher, and to all the students. And those students who qualified were Alexandra Carr, Olivia Wagner, Ryan Dunn, Tate Giesman, Kelly Raker, Alyssa Wagner, Kendall Shekel, Alyssa Manders, Alexa Rader, Delaney Dunn, and Odessa Leadfried. So congratulations to them. We then adjourned the meeting. We had an exempt session to talk about negotiations happening within our school district that way that will be starting up soon. And just wanted to find out the board's perspective on what route we want to go in negotiation. So that is that for that. But I did want to just read a short excerpt here from a book called Barking Up the Wrong Tree by Eric Barker. Pulled this one off the shelf just the other day to look for something else I remembered was in there. And I ran by this quote here. When we talk about grit, or that resiliency, working hard, this is what they say about grit. There's a study from the University of Pennsylvania that shows that kids with grit are happier, physically healthier, and more popular with their peers. Quote, the capacity to continue trying despite repeated setbacks was associated with a more optimistic outlook on life in 31% of people studied, and with greater life satisfaction in 42% of them. Working hard matters. And I think we all need to recognize that sometimes with our students. Yes, we want our students to be as successful as they possibly can. And sometimes that means some failures along the way, where we need to offer support so they can be successful. But working hard for something is very important, whether that's math class, English class, on the basketball court, on the stage, wherever it may be, we have to work hard. So on that note, everyone have a great week, a great day, and we'll go from there. Remember, last day of school is Friday, May 27th. Thank you.